Hey everyone, here's Lee and I finally have a new video! Woo! Okay, this is the part where I will probably edit some woo noise. As you might notice, the background looks totally different, and that is because I moved to Berlin. I live here now for March, April, May, June, July, 6 months. And I love it. It was the best decision for me because I lived in a very small village in the south of Germany next to Stuttgart, and yeah, it just wasn't my thing. I like the big city. I like that I meet so many awesome new people here that are creative and crazy, and yeah, it's awesome. And now, after living here for 6 months, I can say that I finally settled and got used to Berlin. And yeah, now I can totally concentrate on all the things I want to do, because that's why I'm here, right? And now I'm going to start with a new video where I'd like to give you 5 tips how to get started into cosplay. So, okay, I did a lot of mistakes when I was younger, and these are basically the tips that I would just give myself when I was younger and had no idea what I was doing in cosplay, and maybe this would have been helpful. I probably would have listened to me, but yeah. I even wrote them down. I'm super prepared, huh? Alright, let's get started. Well, the first tip is something I wouldn't have said some time ago, because I actually used to say that you should start with something small, pick an easy costume for your first cosplay, but this is something I wouldn't say now. Right now I would say cosplay whatever you want. It doesn't matter how big it is. It can be a crazy huge World of Warcraft armor, it can be some huge dress, and whatever. I think the most important thing is that you are excited about this cosplay, and of course it is your first cosplay. It won't look as good as it will look when you're years into cosplay. It's totally normal that it's not perfect, but I think you should pick something for your first cosplay that you really like and that you're really passionate about. Yeah, watch a lot of YouTube videos on how to actually make this. I mean, there are so many videos out there on how to make armor, how to sew, I don't know. You now have so many possibilities to actually to have access to tutorials and such. Yeah, pick a cosplay you're passionate about, and don't be afraid, because with big challenge comes big growth. This was so deep. And also the good thing is you can pick something crazy now and fail a lot, and then redo it in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years and see how much you already grew. So it's also a great way to show yourself how much you can achieve when you're just consistent and keep going. Okay, another super important tip is focus a lot on wigs and makeup. I didn't do this when I was younger. I mainly focused on sewing and the actual costume, and I bought a cheap wig and didn't put much time and effort into styling it, because I was like, yeah, the hair color is now perfect, so what can go wrong? I look basically like the character, and I didn't. And I also didn't put any time into makeup. I didn't have the skill. My makeup skills were horrible. Will I show you some pictures? I don't know. Especially makeup can do so much to your overall look. Of course, you can change your face so much with makeup, especially with your eyebrows. Pay a lot of attention to eyebrows. I mean, thicker eyebrows or thinner eyebrows, or the shape of your eyebrows change your overall look completely. Study the eyebrows of your character first, and then maybe go on YouTube and look for makeup tutorials and practice a lot. When it comes to makeup, it's super important that you always put on a little bit more makeup than you would normally do, because when you take pictures, the camera takes away so much of your makeup. When you look into the mirror and think, oh gosh, this is way too much, then it's actually good for the camera. I would say the camera takes away 20–30% of your makeup. As I said, wig styling is super important. Don't do the wig on the last day before the convention. That never goes well. I do have a lot of experience in that. Maybe it would be also best to start with the wig first and then focus on the costume, because then you have actually enough time to focus on your wig. Another important tip is practice poses in front of the mirror. You might feel super weird at first, like posing and expressing yourself when nobody's around and you're just only in front of a mirror, but it helps a lot. Also, wear the costume so you know how to pose, which angle is best for you. Take a look at some screenshots of the character and see how the character poses and try to recreate these poses, and also pay a lot of attention to their facial expressions, because most characters have a very unique facial expressions. For example, when I cosplay Ariel, a lot of times she looks like super surprised and a bit naive, and that's because she raises her eyebrows so much. So when I take a picture dressed up as Ariel, I tend to look a little bit weird. I do this a lot of times and you feel totally stupid, but it helps a lot to practice this. And not only practice this in front of a mirror, but also take selfies and see how it looks on camera, or get a tripod and put your camera there and take some pictures so you know yeah, what looks good on you, how you can maybe hide the spots you are insecure about. I mean, we all have them. So I try to pose as good as possible that you can't see my insecurities. But yeah, I think that's really important. Alright, then another big topic is fabric and sewing. When I started cosplay, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I got my first sewing machine and when I was 14, and I started sewing without having any idea. I didn't even read the manual. I had really no idea what I was doing. I started with a cosplay that was Cosette from Petit Cosette. Here is the picture that I will show you now. Ta-da! And I bought expensive fabric for that, and I sat down and cut out some pieces of fabric that I thought that might look like a skirt pattern or so. I didn't even have a pattern. I didn't even Google it. I just cut out some not triangles, but you know, these shapes, and sewed them together, and of course nothing really fit. I had so many problems with my sewing machine, and that was basically because I refused to attend a sewing class or actually read books about it, because I was like, this can't be so hard. It is. So if you start cosplaying, consider going to a sewing class so you know the basics. Or maybe ask a friend who's more into cosplay, who can show you the basics of sewing, or get a book, watch tutorials on it. There's so much out there that you can learn from, so use it. Don't be an idiot like me and waste so much time by being ignorant. When it comes to sewing, you gotta get fabric somewhere, and my suggestion is to always look for fabric locally, so go into an actual shop and see what fabric they have. I know that a lot, that when you look for a specific fabric, you've been to, I don't know, 20 shops and no one has this specific fabric you want. Then look online, but always get a sample first. Sorry. Most shops even send these samples for free, so the color can totally vary, but also the structure and everything. So before you spend so much money on it and then throw everything away, which might have happened to me a lot of times, and I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, and the last tip, I should tattoo this tip on my face. I still don't really stick to it, but I'm trying. I'm really trying. I learned from my past, but it's don't rush your cosplay. I think every cosplayer had this. When the convention is coming closer and closer and you really want to wear this costume for this convention, then you tend to rush your cosplay last minute when you have not enough time, and you spend sleepless nights on this costume, but let me tell you, it's not worth it. And just wear it at the next convention. Nobody will hate you for that. Nobody. And if they do, they are stupid. Because also, if you rush your cosplay, you spend so much time already and so much money in it, and then you might ruin it in the last days because you couldn't finish it. It's just super annoying and sad when you are not happy with your cosplay in the end. So yeah, I used to do this all the time when I was younger. Like basically before every convention I had a sleepless night because I still had so much to do. But now that I'm old and wise, I can say I usually don't do this anymore because I'm like, well, then I'm gonna finish it for the next convention, who cares? Because actually, who cares? And to prevent this, rushing your cosplay, it's good to do little steps every day. So like when you come home from school, from work or whatever, and you are super tired, it's actually a good thing if you kick your butt and say, okay, I'm gonna work on my costume at least for half an hour and I'm gonna finish this today, and my future me will actually like me a lot for that. So I hope this was actually a little bit interesting and also helpful for you. I don't know. Please write down in the comments what was your first cosplay, or if you haven't cosplayed yet but want to do this, please tell me what do you want to cosplay. So I'm excited to see what you want to do. Yeah, as I always say in my videos, I want to do more videos, but I really want to do. I already have a plan for new videos. Yeah, and if you liked it and maybe want to support me, then you can check out my Patreon, which is here, or my other social media channels, which I linked here or there, I don't know. Yeah, see you next time. Bye. Mwah! Wish you all the best and lots of fries in the world.